Today's lesson is a different side of Busan. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
We are traveling for Double 10 Day today, and we're actually going to leave the country, and we're heading to Korea, which isn't too far away. What is it, about a 3-4 hour flight from Taipei to Korea? And I've never been there myself. I changed planes there before, but hey, it probably is an interesting place to go to. Have you been there before?
Yeah, I went there for a nice little 5 or 7 day holiday. I forget, around a week. In Seoul, I didn't get to go to Busan, but we did spend some time in Seoul in the winter time, which was kind of nice because it was cold and snowy, which is, of course, weather we don't get here. And yeah, I had a good time. Food was great. We saw some interesting stuff, some cool museums, did a bit of shopping, and even had an adventure going up to the DMZ to peer across the border into North Korea with the soldiers all around. It was quite an interesting experience. So I'd love to go to Busan. I believe it is the second city of Korea, with Seoul being the capital and the largest city. I believe Busan is kind of the southern port city, so you can think of Seoul being Taipei. Busan would kind of be the Kaohsiung or the Osaka of Korea. So if you want to experience southern Korean lifestyle and maybe hit the beach too, Busan is definitely a place you'd want to check out.
Sounds pretty cool, and I'm inspired to go there because a couple of years ago I've watched a movie called Train to Busan. Maybe you've heard about it before.
Yeah.
It's actually a very well done zombie movie if you're into that sort of film. Okay, but in any case, we are going to see another side of Busan in today's lesson, so let's introduce this topic by listening to the first paragraph, and we'll come down to break it down for you.
A different side of Busan. Located on South Korea's southern coast, the picturesque city of Busan is full of beautiful beaches, delicious seafood, and intriguing historic sites. But if you're looking to escape the crowds of tourists at Busan's most popular destinations, or just hoping to try something a little different, this is the article for you.
大家好，第一部分介绍形容词 picturesque， 它的意思是风景如画的，或是有自然美景的。例如 Megan visited several picturesque villages while traveling through Italy. Megan 在意大利旅行时造访了几个风景如画的村庄。或者 Laura took photographs of the picturesque village. Laura 为那座景色优美的村子拍了照。再来看到形容词 intriguing， 表示引人入胜的或是非常有趣的。例如 The plot sounds intriguing, but the movie is way too long. 这个故事情节听起来很吸引人，但电影实在太长了。或是 This mystery novel has an intriguing premise. 这本悬疑小说有个非常有趣的设定。后面看到名词 destination， 它的意思是目的地或是终点。例如 After driving for 7 hours, we finally reached our destination. 在开了7个小时的车后，我们终于到达了目的地。也可以说 Hawaii is a popular vacation destination. 夏威夷是一个受欢迎的度假胜地。
Okay, so here we're talking about Busan again, and located on South Korea's southern coast, the picturesque city of Busan is full of beautiful beaches, delicious seafood, and intriguing historic sites. So this is how we introduce this topic to you. This sentence pretty much tells us all we're going to talk about in our article today. The subject is Busan, and we've got some basic information about this city in the first introductory paragraph. First of all, we find out about its location. It's located on the southern coast of South Korea there. We also find out that it's a picturesque city, which means it's beautiful. You can take lots of wonderful pictures of this place. It's not an ugly city like Detroit or someplace like that. It's actually quite beautiful. And it's also full of beautiful beaches. It's got lots of seafood to check out. And there are historic sites there if you're into old buildings or monuments or temples or things like that.
Absolutely. And those historic sites are intriguing. They're interesting. They might cause you to look at them and go, oh, okay, that's an interesting historic historical site, but if something's intriguing, maybe the more you learn about it, the more interesting it becomes, and the more interested you are, the more you want to learn. So something intriguing is attractive, but also it provokes or inspires curiosity in something. You want to learn more about something intriguing because it appears to be more interesting than maybe you would have originally thought. But it says if you're looking to escape the crowds of tourists at Busan's most popular destinations, or just hoping to try something a little different, this is the article for you. So here we're not going to be describing all the best things to do in Busan, all the places to go, all the shops to visit and restaurants to eat at. That's another article. You can do that on your own. And of course, maybe you're looking to, or you're trying to, or wanting to escape the crowds of tourists at Busan's most popular destinations. You don't want to be in the People Mountain, People Sea of tourists in Busan. You want to get away from those destinations. Destination is just a place you are going to. If you're buying a plane ticket, you're going to be, of course, flying out from where you are now, but where are you flying to? Are you flying over to Hong Kong? Are you flying to LA? Are you flying to Rio de Janeiro? What is your destination? What is the end target or end goal of your journey or your trip or your travels? That is your destination. And of course, it can also be a place to go for tourists. So when we talk about a tourist destination or a popular destination, the kind of place in a city or a country that tourists will be attracted to. So the night markets of Taipei are popular destinations for tourists from all around the world when they visit Taiwan. That kind of idea. Or maybe you're just hoping to try something a little different. Maybe you've been to Korea a few times. You've checked out Seoul. You have your favorite places in Busan, but you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit away from all those typical things. Well, this is the article for you. Stay tuned. Keep paying attention. Maybe even get a pen and paper to make a list of all the wonderful places we're going to tell you about, starting now in our second paragraph. A quieter beach. Haeundae Beach and Gwangali Beach are certainly the two most iconic beaches in Busan, and deservedly so. However, they can get quite crowded in summer. So, if you're interested in a quieter scene, make the short trip from central Busan to the equally gorgeous but far less crowded Darepo Beach. Make sure that you bring a picnic and stay for the sunset, as Darepo is known for having the most breathtaking sunset in the city.
第二部分介绍形容词 gorgeous， 表示极其漂亮的、美丽动人的或是华丽的。我们可以说We had a gorgeous view of the mountains from our hotel room. 我们从饭店房间可以欣赏到极其漂亮的山景。又或者说 The fashion model looked gorgeous in the new designer dress. 那位时装模特儿穿着新款的设计师礼服时，看起来美丽动人。
Okay, so again, you might want to avoid the crowds at those popular destinations or those tourist sites in Busan. So we're going to give you some suggestions as to places you can go to avoid those crowds. First of all, we've got a quieter beach here. Of course, a beach is a place by the ocean. I'm not much of a beach person myself. I don't like getting sand in my shoes and things like that. But some people like the beach. They like to hang out and catch some rays, sit in the sun and stuff like that. And today we're going to a place called Haeundae Beach, and we're also going to Gwangali Beach, okay? And they are certainly the two most iconic beaches in Busan, and deservedly so. So again, if you go to Busan, these are a couple of beaches that are iconic, which means they kind of stand for the place. When we think of Busan, we think of these two beaches. That's usually a prominent feature of a particular place. It's iconic, like in Sydney, of course, the Opera House there is the iconic symbol of Sydney. And of course, in Taipei, we've got 101. It's iconic of Taipei. There are countless examples of these things all over the world.
Exactly right. And of course, with Korean dramas being popular around the world and many tourists who visit Korea being fans of those, I would imagine there might be a lot of famous scenes from some of these dramas that have been filmed on these beaches. So anyone who kind of knows about Busan will know about these beaches in the way that most people in Taipei at least once have visited Baishawan Busan or Fulong Beach or one of those sort of local beaches. So they're very well known, very popular. A lot of people go there at all different times of the year, and deservedly so. They deserve to be iconic. They deserve to be famous. They deserve to be popular. They're close to the city. They're lovely. They're easy to get to, and they're quite big. So lots of people will naturally be drawn there on weekends and holidays and stuff. But there, of course, is a downside to that. And we get to that in the next sentence. Very simply, however, even though they're iconic, even though they're great and lovely, however, they can get quite crowded in summer. Yes, well, if it's lovely, if it's iconic, if it's near to a big city, yeah, I'm not too surprised. It doesn't take an expert to predict that these will be crowded in the summer. If you're going there on a Saturday afternoon, expect lines at the bus stop or the train station. Expect to have to search for a quiet section of beach to plant yourself on. And you're definitely not going to be having a very quiet, secluded, romantic experience with just your lover on the beach. You're going to be surrounded by thousands of other romantic lovers and families and kids and all sorts of activity. So, if you're interested in a quieter scene, make the short trip from central Busan to the equally gorgeous but far less crowded Dadepo Beach. All right, so here's a good option that maybe even some of the locals wouldn't tell you about. So if you're looking for a quieter scene, a quieter location or environment, a slightly longer trip, but a short trip from central Busan, but maybe a little bit further than Haeundae Beach, is the beach at Dadepo, and it says it's equally gorgeous, so that's good. You might spend a little bit more time and a slight bit more money to get there. It's a bit more of a hassle, a bit more trouble to get there, but once you do, you will discover it's equally as beautiful, equally gorgeous, equally as spectacular as the more famous iconic beaches. Yes, if something is gorgeous, it's just beautiful. That's what we're saying. It's physically very attractive.
Indeed. This reminds me of what people told me when I went to China many years ago. They said, don't go to Guilin because it's run over with tourists. Go to Yangshuo because it's equally gorgeous and you'll avoid all those crowds. And I suppose we got a similar situation here. Yeah, you want to avoid the crowds at those beaches in Busan, and you want to have a gorgeous alternative that not a lot of people know about. And make sure you bring a picnic and stay for the sunset, as Dadepo is known for having the most breathtaking sunset in the city. So if you choose to go to this beach, if you want to avoid the popular beaches, well, you need to bring a picnic. Bring along some food there because I suppose it's a small beach and there aren't a lot of dining options there. So bring along your own food. And what the heck, you can sit on the beach there with that food and you can enjoy the sunset because this place is known for having the most breathtaking sunset in the city. We all want that, okay? If something's breathtaking, it takes your breath away. It's so beautiful, you don't want to ruin the moment by actually breathing. You want to take in the entire moment by stopping your breath and looking at that sunset. It will be a memorable experience for you and you'll remember it for the rest of your life. Okay, we're at the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's go have a cheaper feast somewhere. Let's listen to the third and final part of our lesson right now.
A cheaper feast. Jagalchi Fish Market is a popular option for first-time visitors to Busan, but its noisy atmosphere, along with the high prices of its seafood dishes, can be a bit overwhelming. For a calmer, less expensive experience, visit the grilled clam restaurants in Taejeondae Park. There, you can sit right on the ocean cliffs and grill your clams while enjoying the view.
"第三部分看到名词 feast， 它的意思是盛宴、飨宴或是宴席。例如 We sat around the table and ate a huge feast. 我们围坐在餐桌旁，享受一顿盛宴。又或者说 The music festival offered a feast for the ears and was free to everyone in the city. 这场音乐季提供了听觉上的盛宴享受，城里的每个人都能免费参加。接着介绍名词 atmosphere， 这个单字表示气氛、氛围或是大气层的意思。举例来说 Allie and Steve liked the restaurant because of its romantic atmosphere.Allie 和 Steve 喜欢这间餐厅，是因为它浪漫的氛围。又或者说 The rocket successfully made it out of the atmosphere. 那枚火箭成功脱离大气层。再来看到形容词 overwhelming， 这个单字表示强烈到令人难以承受的、不知所措的或是压倒性的。例如 Simon found studying for his science exam to be overwhelming at times. Simon 觉得念书准备科学考试有时会令人不知所措。也可以说Facing an overwhelming workload, the team worked together to meet tight project deadlines. 面对压倒性的工作量，该团队共同合作，以赶上紧凑的专案截止期限。最后看到名词 cliff， 表示悬崖或是峭壁。我们可以说 The bird sat on the edge of the cliff, watching the sea below. 那只鸟栖息在悬崖边，看着下面的海。也可以说 The cliff was too steep to climb up. 这面峭壁太陡了，不可能爬得上去。
All right, we are back. So we were talking about having a picnic on the beach. Let's explore those ideas with having a bit of food. Here we're going to be going a little more upscale, a little more classy than a picnic on the beach, although that can be lovely. So let's find out about those. It says, a cheaper feast. Well, okay. Everyone likes to save a bit of money if they can and still have a wonderful time. So this seems to be food that is slightly less expensive than you might find in other places, and you'll get a lot of it. We know that because it's described as a feast. This is not a snack. This is not even a meal. No, this is a feast. And a feast is sort of large amounts of food or just really delicious food, or even better, large amounts of really delicious food. So if you had a feast, it's a food party. It's a long meal. You're not going to leave the table until you are absolutely stuffed and happy. So let's find out where to go to become stuffed and happy. After this feast, it says, Jagalchi Fish Market is a popular option for first-time visitors to Busan, but its noisy atmosphere, along with the high prices of its seafood dishes, can be a bit overwhelming. All right, so this is the typical tourist destination. The Jagalchi, and I'm going to apologize for all of my Korean pronunciation. This fish market is a popular option for first-time visitors to Busan. So the novices, the rookies, the newbies, the people who don't have the inside knowledge and inside experience. This would be sort of like visiting that famous Tsukiji market in Tokyo. All the tourists will go there. Some of the tourists might not even know that the fish market actually moved a number of years ago. They all go there because that's what it says in 90% of the tourist guides. They'll take you to the Jagalchi fish market. So that's fine. You can do that. Go to that. It's simple. It's downtown. It's convenient. But its noisy atmosphere, along with the high prices of its seafood dishes, can be a bit overwhelming. Yes, you will get fresh seafood, but you'll probably be paying more for it than you would at a seafood restaurant just a few streets away, because this is what's known as a tourist trap. Tourists go there, the business people know it, and so they're going to raise the prices a little bit. You often know it's a tourist trap if the locals go, well, we never go there, but all you tourists go there all the time, and people are attracted to it because it's famous, but also it has this noisy atmosphere. The environment there is very noisy. There's the fish market sellers yelling out the fish and the prices. There's the delivery trucks driving in and driving out. There's tourists and shoppers everywhere. So this kind of noisy, bustling, exciting, lively atmosphere is very nice and very fun. But along with the high prices for its seafood dishes, so it can be crowded and it can also have very expensive prices on the menus. This can all be a bit overwhelming. It can be a bit too much for people. They go there, maybe they have a good time, but they don't have a great time. They don't feel relaxed. It's a little bit of a stressful thing. If something is overwhelming, it doesn't mean it was too much for you, but it means it was getting close to being too much, and it certainly was more stressful than relaxing and lovely and enjoyable.
Right, it's overwhelming. It's just too much. It's kind of stressful, and maybe it's not the experience you were looking forward to. Yes, it does have this busy, noisy atmosphere. Lots of people like an atmosphere like that, the general mood of a certain place. But it might be too much for some people, and they might want something quieter and peaceful. For a calmer, less expensive experience, visit the grilled clam restaurants in Taejeondae Park. Okay, I hope I said that right. Again, I haven't studied Korean before, but in any case, this is a park there where you can check out some clam restaurants there. These are actually grilled clam restaurants. Grilled means the clams are heated over a grill, which has those iron bars, and there's some kind of flame underneath it, and it's a special way of cooking. So these are grilled clam restaurants. That does sound rather tasty to have clams that are grilled as opposed to boiled or whatever. And yes, indeed, this will give you a calmer, less expensive experience, and there will be fewer tourists there, and it will be something that you'll probably treasure more because, yeah, when we travel to other countries, we want to remember the peaceful, quiet times more than the exciting, noisy times.
The atmosphere could be lovely. The food could be, of course, delicious. You're kind of grilling or basically barbecuing your fresh clams over this open fire, and you're doing it outside on your own, or at least amongst the beautiful natural environment. It says there you can sit right on the ocean cliffs and grill your clams while enjoying the view. Doesn't that sound lovely? So you're probably in a restaurant, but with an open balcony, that kind of idea. As long as the weather is nice and the rain isn't pouring down, it's a great place to sit out in the open in the evening. You're going to be on the cliffs. So if you're on a cliff, you're on kind of a raised wall of rock. This is the kind of place that we might find on the east coast of Taipei. If you're driving down towards Taidong and south from Taidong, you see there the land kind of drops down very, very quickly like this wall of rock because of the movement of the earth. And so that wall, we would talk about that being a cliff. If you stand at the top of a cliff, you're standing high above the ground in front of you. That's the bottom of the cliff because it's several meters or even tens or hundreds of meters below you. You don't want to fall off a cliff, but if you're a rock climber, climbing up a cliff might be great. And of course, for anyone who wants a view and wants to take a lovely picture of the ocean or whatever is in front of you, the cliff gives you a wonderful high position, a high vantage point to see the land all around from that raised area. So you're sitting up there on the cliffs, the ocean waves are below you, crashing onto the beach down there, and you're grilling your clams while enjoying the view. Sounds absolutely lovely.
Sounds cool, and there are more places to check out in Busan in our next program, so please tune in next time. But right now we're going to finish things off with Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始用到了 picturesque 来描述釜山这个城市。那么 picturesque 它是表达风景如画的，有自然美景的。我们这边来介绍这个字尾 ESQUE， 它是形容词字尾，用来指出风格啊、相似处或者是某种特色，去表达以什么样方式的，或者是像什么什么的。在 picturesque 这个字当中， picture 是图画，字尾 ESQUE 表示什么什么似的，图画似的，那就可以知道 picturesque 它是用来描述如画一般的优美的。好，我们顺便补充几个相同字尾的单字。第一个是 statuesque，它是由 statue 雕像再加上这个字尾 ESQUE 表达什么什么似的，那字面意思会是如雕像一般的，而它可以用来描述如雕像般庄严而优雅的，或者是也可以描述体态高挑优美的。第二个补充的是 Japanesque，它是由 Japan 日本再加上字尾 ESQUE 表达什么什么风格的，那合在一起 Japanesque 可以描述日本式的日本风格的。好，课文第三部分他有提到札嘎其鱼市，那他写到说 Its noisy atmosphere along with the high prices of its seafood dishes can be a bit overwhelming，其嘈杂的氛围加上昂贵的海鲜菜肴可能会让人有点不知所措。那文中它是用 along with something 去表达以及什么连同什么，特别注意如果用到 A along with B 去当主词，那么动词是要随着 A 来做变化，只是我们课文后面它接的是助动词 can， 所以就不需要变化了。好，另外有一个单字是 overwhelming， 它是形容令人难以承受的，不知所措的，它也可以描述压倒性的。那它是来自动词 overwhelm， 我们看一下它的字首字根。over 这个字首呢，它可以表达出太 过于或是超过或是在什么什么上方的意思。那有这样的字首的单字通常会表达那种超过过度的语义。而在 overwhelm 这个字当中， over 表示过度， WHELM 这部分则是表达翻转过来。那我们可以想象，当海浪很大啊，翻转的力量过大，让这个船都翻了，用这样的画面也许可以联想到 overwhelm， 它可以表达使什么难以承受，喘不过气，尤其是像压力情绪让人招架不住的情况。那也补充几个有相同字首的单字，像 overcrowded 过度拥挤的， overwork 工作过度过劳， overload 超载，还有 overpopulated 是形容人口过多的。那它其实就是有这个字首 over 表示过度的，然后加上 populated 是指有人居住的，把它组合在一起变成 overpopulated。 好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Destination. Paris is a popular destination for tourists from around the world. Gorgeous. Alexis wore a gorgeous dress for her wedding. Feast. Brian's mother always prepares a grand feast for the Christmas holiday. Atmosphere. Last night's party had a lively atmosphere with lots of music and dancing. Overwhelming. The students found the amount of information presented in the class overwhelming. Grill. We decided to grill some steaks for dinner. Cliff. Bert stood near the edge of the cliff and looked out over the ocean down below. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger. See you next time.